are you all able to hear and see me, online students? Yeah, all of you? Alright, just give me some time to scroll up to where we were. So what was I talking about? Glycosaminoglycans, right? So there we saw what is glycosaminoglycan made up of. So there was a suspense, right? So now let's break it, right? So we saw that it is made up of disaccharide units, right? Repeating disaccharide units. One of them is N-acetyl glucosamine or N-acetyl galactosamine residues, and the other is glucuronic acid or iduronic acid. Correct? The uronic acids and the N-acetyl residues of sugar. So the uronic acid, glucuronic acid differs from iduronic acid in that they are isomers. If you see the position of the carboxylic group, it has just got flipped. Alright, it is just rotated inside inward, and that becomes the iduronic acid. So these residues are linked to one another and they alternate. And sometimes you have sulfur residues also present along with these. Alright, so there are several examples of these glycosaminoglycans. When I say mucopolysaccharides, I am meaning the same, it is glycosaminoglycans. So another name of it is mucopolysaccharides. Alright, so because it is more present in the mucins which are present in the mucus. Alright, so they are rich in wherever there is viscosity, you will see gags in the body. So that's why they are mucopolysaccharides. Some of their examples here. The last slide. Fine. See, it is made up of repeating disaccharide units, the N-acetyl glucosamine or N-acetyl galactosamine residues, along with the glucuronic acid or iduronic acid residues. These form a disaccharide and they will repeat. What kind of linkages, how they repeat, you will see with respect to the examples what I will be taking. Alright. So there are some of them which contain sulfur. So let us see a few examples of them. You have the hyaluronic acid or hyaluronan, then chondroitin sulfate. Both chondroitin 4 sulfate and chondroitin 6 sulfate, dermatan sulfate, keratin sulfate, heparin. These are the few examples of glycosaminoglycans. So we will look at each of these examples and then we will try to understand the structure and the functional features of these glycosaminoglycans. So first coming to hyaluronic acid, it is an essential component of the extracellular matrix, particularly present in the cartilage and tendon, and it gives the tensile strength. That is the ability to pull the muscle as much as possible. That is the tensile strength. That is the elasticity. And that property is conferred by the hyaluronic acid that is present. It is highly viscous and elastic. What makes it so highly viscous and elastic? When I am talking to you about the structure, I will explain to you. Alright. And these can be cleaved only by certain enzymes like hyaluronidase enzymes. Where is this hyaluronic acid present? As I already mentioned, in the cartilage or tendon, in the ligaments, joints, you can see them. As how? You can see them as the lubricating fluid. Example, the synovial fluid is where you can locate the hyaluronic acid. Elsewhere, you can see is the vitreous humor of the eye. Alright, and apart from that, you can see them in the capsules of the bacterial cell wall. So, you cannot see them in plants. Alright, glycosaminoglycans are absent in the case of plants. They are present only in certain animal species and certain bacterial species. Alright, so how it looks. Let us see how hyaluronic acid or hyaluronate looks like. It is not linked to any protein, neither it has any sulfur. And the linkage is beta-1,3 linkage. So it is glucuronic acid and N-acetyl glucosamine disaccharide repeating units. Alright. The repeating units are linked by beta 1,4 linkage, and within the disaccharide it is the beta 1,3 linkage. I suppose you're clear. See, it is the disaccharide which is formed between the glucuronic acid and the N-acetyl glucosamine. Both are linked to one another by the beta 1,3 linkage, and individual such disaccharide units are linked to one another by the beta 1,4 linkage. And as you can see here, there is no sulfur group present at all. So here you see the carboxylic acid group, which is negatively charged, isn't it? So the stability is conferred by addition of certain positive ions like calcium ions. Some kind of positive ions present in the cell will generally bind to this negative charge. Apart from that, when it is present in nature, the carboxylic groups are going to be present close to one another in the long chain, isn't it? As a polymer, several such disaccharide units are linked to one another as a long chain. So there are several negative charges which are present. These negative charges are going to repel one another, right? So in order to prevent that repulsion, the molecule forms a twist. Alright, individual disaccharide molecules will twist itself in such a way that the carboxylic acid of one disaccharide and the carboxylic acid of the other disaccharide is in the opposite orientation. Alright, so and not only that, because of the repulsion, it will extend as much as possible. So they will form extended rod-like structures, and that twist will confer to their stability. Alright, so because of these extensive negative charges and this kind of a structure, they have that elastic nature or viscosity. They confer to the viscosity. Understood? So from where they developed that viscosity goes back to the structure because of the presence of extensive negative charges. So apart from hyaluronate, there are several other glycosaminoglycans where you have more negative charges which are present. That is when the sulfate groups are also present. Then more negative charges, more repulsion, more extension, and so more elasticity will be present. Alright. Coming to chondroitin sulfate. Chondron means cartilage. Alright. So they again have the ability to provide tensile strength. So all the glycosaminoglycans have the main role of providing tensile strength. Okay, and depending upon their name, you can understand where they are present. Like chondroitin sulfate is abundant, most abundant glycosaminoglycan found in the cartilage. And how is its structure? Again, a disaccharide unit linked by beta 1,3 linkage, and individual of these disaccharides by beta 1,4 linkage. What are the disaccharides? You have glucuronic acid and N-acetyl glucosamine. So how is it different from hyaluronic acid? No, not. It can be galactose or glucosamine. How is it different is the presence of sulfate group. Alright. So how is it different from hyaluronic acid is that it is the presence of sulfate group. Hyaluronic acid is the only glycosaminoglycan which lacks the sulfate group. No other gas is there which has no sulfate. Only the hyaluronic acids lack the sulfate group. So here chondroitin sulfate is very similar in its structure except that it has got an additional sulfate group. Alright. If that sulfate group is present at the 4th position, it becomes chondroitin 4-sulfate. If it is present at the 6th position, it has got 6-sulfate. So both are structural polymers of each other. Then coming to dermatan sulfate, as the name suggests, it is present in the skin. Alright, so that also confers to the pliability or the folding of the skin. We cannot move our hands or flexibilize ourselves the way we want if there is no presence of such elastic structural polymers in our body. Alright, so that elasticity I already mentioned, who is conferring the presence of negative charges on these heteropolysaccharides. So here you look at the structure, it has got hydrochloric acid and N-acetyl glucosamine. Okay, it is sulfated at the 4th or the 6th carbon atom, and the linkage is the beta 1,3 linkage, and again you have the beta 1,4 linkage between the individual disaccharide units. So instead of glucuronic acid, it is the hydrochloric acid, that you can see here.
One is the orientation of the next disaccharide. How will it be? Like the bond of beta
1,4 between this first and the fourth carbon atom.
Yeah, but how reorienting it?
It will be slightly upward. Okay, it will be layered, stacked, not in the straight linear chain, but slightly it will be staggered in its structure. Alright, and it will be extended, and the sulfate group will be present at the sixth carbon atom in that case. And here you can see you have the sulfate group also, you have the carboxylic group also. Pliability means folding, possibility of elasticity. Alright, how much of elasticity is possible or folding? Did I answer your doubt?
Well, exactly. Can you show a structure where exactly the next disaccharide is?
Here I don't have that the diagrammatic representation, but I think you should be able to get a picture of the linkages, right?
Elasticness.
I didn't get you. What?
The elasticity or the viscous thing is.
Yeah, see here the position of carboxylic group, and you have the sulfate group. Again over here you are going to have another carboxylic group, another sulfate group. So these are going to be a linear polymer of recurring carboxylate groups and the sulfate group. So when such several negative charges are present, they cannot be very close to one another because of the repelling negative charges. So they will twist themselves. Okay, they will twist between their linkages. The linkage will be 1,3 only.
Okay,
but there will be a rotation in there. The way they are rotated. Beta 1,3 will not change. The linkage will be beta 1,3, but there will be a twist in these molecules such that the negative charges are farther from one another. Okay, and to do that, they will extend a little, go farther from one another. So that's how they form an extended rod, and elasticity also develops.
Okay.
All right.
What you said about the baby's body?
What did I say?
Baby's body have no elasticity.
No, I didn't mention that. You must have heard something else. Where did you hear about dermatan sulfate? No, I did not mention. There is elasticity in every skin. Okay, dermatan sulfate is present in the skin of any person, whether it is an infant or an adult. Okay, animals or any kind of an organism where there is the presence of cartilage, joints, ligaments, the fluid will possess this dermatan sulfate. Alright.
Then whatever we discussed earlier told, no, together we are calling as mucopolysaccharide.
Yeah, it is called as mucopolysaccharide because it is present in the mucus. The mucins of mucus possess these galls in them. So because of that, that's slimy nature, and that will help in defense again, the throwing out of foreign substance. So apart from structural role, it is also present in the mucus.
This twisting mainly helps in the elasticity.
Yeah, and negative charges, more of negative charges are also present, right? So because of that, the viscosity increases. Because of that extended rod structure, it will not easily dissolve when you mix them in water. You get this, you get lot of hyaluronans and mix them in water, they are not going to easily dissolve because of their high viscosity in nature. That is conferred because of the presence of negative charges on them.
Okay, so due to the negative charge, we are having that viscosity.
Exactly, viscosity and elasticity. Both is because of the presence of extensive negative charges on them. Alright. Then coming to heparin. Alright. So what is heparin? Hepa stands for liver. Alright. So they are more present in the liver. How this heparin looks. So here you can see heparin is more sulfated than the other sugars. But here if you look at it, it has got O sulfated linkages and N sulfated linkages. Why can't you hear me? Everyone else can hear me? Online students? Urvi, look at your speakers, just give it a check. Alright, you have glucuronic acid and you have N-acetyl glucosamide. The linkage here is different from what you saw so far, in that it has got alpha 1,4 linkage and alpha 1,4 linkage between the disaccharides and also between individual disaccharide units and the connecting disaccharides. There you have the alpha 1,4 linkage with compared to the other glycosaminoglycans where you saw the beta 1,3 alternating with beta 1,4 linkage. Here it is the alpha 1,4 linkage. Alright, so here it is more sulfated in that it has got O sulfates and also N sulfate groups present here. Alright, so heparin, if you see, they are the anticoagulants in nature. Where they are seen most is the mast cells. What are these mast cells? Immune system. Natural killer cells. Some more elaborate answers here, online students. I cannot make out you all exist, so I have to ask unnecessarily. Speaker is there. Okay. Tell me what are mast cells? Anybody?
Dendritic cells.
Dendritic cells? No, I want answer what are mast cells. Where in immune system do you hear about them? B cells differentiate to mast cells? No. Blood. Mast cells, inflammation is very close to the answer. Right? When there is an allergic reaction, then the mast cells come into role. Okay. So when there is an antibody, when there is a detection of some allergic substance or an allergen entering our body, then the antibody will form a compact association with the antigen, which is allergic, and that will come along with mast cells. The antibodies along with the mast cells will associate with this allergen. Once the allergen binds to the antibody, the mast cells will release out certain chemical granules into the body, and these chemical granules will form the allergic reactions in our body. Alright, so these chemicals are generally histamine. Along with histamine, mast cells are rich in heparin. Alright, so heparin and histamine both are the compositions of mast cells. Both are present in the mast cells. Alright, so they are actually having a role of being anticoagulant in nature. So when you are studying this, I'll be showing you these in the other slides as to how they act as anticoagulants. They are the natural anticoagulants. More precisely speaking, heparin is not the natural anticoagulant, but heparin sulfate is the natural anticoagulant. Heparin is used as anticoagulant in the blood banks. In outside, that is anywhere in the surgical procedures, heparin is used as the anticoagulant. Whereas heparin sulfate is the one which is the natural anticoagulant in our body. What is this heparin sulfate? That which has got less number of N and O sulfate residues. In the same structure, it has got more of N-acetyl glucosamine but less of N and O sulfate groups will have the heparin sulfate. And this is the natural anticoagulant. Alright. So generally when a surgery is carried out, post surgery, the person is given shots of heparin so as to prevent clotting. Alright. So that is the main function of heparin. Alright. Then talking about keratin sulfate, not keratin but keratin. Alright. Keratin is a protein. This is keratin sulfate. And where do you see them? You see them in the horns, hoofs, hair, nail. So all these structures, you can see the presence of the keratin sulfate. Alright, and this keratin sulfate differs from other glycosaminoglycans in that it does not possess uronic acid. Alright, that which does not possess sulfate, hyaluronic acid. That GAG which does not possess uronic acid, keratin sulfate. Alright, so it does not possess keratin sulfate. So how does it have the structure? It is glucose residues and N-acetyl glucosamine which is sulfated. Alright, N-acetyl glucosamine which is sulfated at the 6th carbon atom along with glucose residues, and the linkage between the individual monosaccharide is beta 1,4, between the disaccharide is beta 1,3. So this is keratin sulfate. Alright, then talking about glycoconjugates, I'll be dealing that in the next class. Alright, so you all just have a brief reference. Alright, so that we can wind up these topics little faster and get into bioenergetics. All right. So tomorrow morning, I think I'll be meeting you all once again.